Hello and welcome to the Build with Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. And to get things started, to kick things off, I'm going to throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site that's here to blue emote in chat. If you are currently a subscriber, reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you feel like being a lurker, if that's how you want to do it, then go ahead and lurk, and that's okay as well. Ghost Valve is here, Lashfork is here. Welcome to both of you on this fine Thursday evening. The air conditioning is running here in the house. I'm very pleased to report that it is cool in here. Lord Crashton is here saying, hey, Pat. Hey to you, Lord Crashton, and welcome, welcome. I got a new light. We'll look at it once we go to the overhead. I got a new overhead light that's right over here. It is a bar instead of a box or a brick, as I've had pretty recently. I've experimented with those. The most recent ones I've had are now going to be backups because those are USB-C charging, but not USB-C like USB run. And I don't want them to be charging and then it run off a battery and then have to recharge. I want to just have it plugged into a wall and then like my power strip. And then when I turn it on, it's on. And when I turn it off, it goes off. And I don't have to worry about charging it or hoping that the battery didn't like run out during the stream or anything like that. But funny, I'm gonna take a photo of it once I get it really situated because it's gonna be the first stream using it. It's meant for laptops. It is meant for on the go. You just clip it onto a laptop and then run the USB to the laptop, right? So the USB cable's kind of short. I've run an extender USB, but it doesn't have the camera screw that you would expect, like if you want to plug it on a tripod. Or if you want to put it on an arm like I have already set up for a light, so I can move it out of the way and then put it in position. It's meant to just clip onto the bezel of a thin laptop. So right now it is gaff taped to my camera arm or light arm that I've been using. It used to be my, when I had a USB camera, this is what I used to hold that on. And then I replaced it with a better arm for the overhead camera because I switched to an actual camcorder instead of a webcam. So yeah, I can control the brightness. I can change the settings. It should be great. It should work out pretty good. I'm going to actually tilt it down just a little here. And then I can just kind of put it out of the way when I don't want to use it. And it should brighten the whole space. And in fact, let's go to the overhead now. There you go. And if you're like, Pat, I do not see a difference. This looks like how it normally looks. It should look how my previous lights looked. With less bleed. There should be less bleed right here. Right in this area here. There should be less bleed because that's kind of where it's situated. But look at this. Light off. And I think now you can have an obvious difference in how it looks. And then light on. Yeah, I think that is noticeably different. Shadows are still there. The shadows are going to be there unless I had an exact same light on the other side. I think that would kind of reduce it. We're not getting that. I could also maybe have it here, but it'll be in the way of my monitors. This seems to be the best solution for my space. Obviously, if I had two lights with umbrella reflectives, situated in the same place, flooding back at me, it would light the table, it would light me. I wouldn't need any other lights except those. I don't have that situation here. I don't have room for that or those lights. So this is working right now. I have the other light as a backup in case this dies on me because I don't know how long it will last. It was $15, which feels perfectly acceptable for something that I'm taking a shot at, you know? I think that's totally okay. But yeah, let's get into working on this Lego set. Why don't we? Quick reminder, we're currently at 37 subscribers. The goal is to get to 50. I showed up at 50. If you want to become a subscriber, if you want to gift a sub to somebody in the community, you could do that, and that would be swell. I got to figure out, I got to move my water. I put my water in a spot that I don't normally put it, and it's causing the table to move, which causes the overhead camera to move. I got to fix that. I'm fixing it. Sorry. I had pizza for dinner and it's just very salty. It was extra mozzarella, very salty. What are we working on tonight? We are working on the Retro Roller Skate 3-in-1 set. We are doing the roller skate first. We're going to have a roller skate, as you can see in the photo, reference photo. We also are going to build a boombox, and we're going to build a skateboard. It's kind of hard to see that that's what that is there. That's a skateboard there. Working on the roller skate right now. Working on the laces of the roller skate. We've done this part so far. We'll put that over there. And now we can focus on this section of skate. And we want this side like this. And now we're going to put the laces over it. Lord Credit says, I guess Danny O'Dwyer found something good on those old GameSpot tapes with a young Adam Boyes. Oh, that's fun. That is a fun discovery. Hell yeah. Good for Danny. I'm glad that the tape archival is still progressing. I know that that's a side gig at this point, but I still think it's invaluable. It's valuable to be able to do that. All right, so we kind of need to... hello, Fatal Banana. Welcome. Happy to have you here. Oh, got a notification about something. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to start off with a thing that made me angry from the world, specifically America, specifically Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, and even more specifically, the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission. Now, some things we need to lay the groundwork for before we get into specifics of what's going on here and the particular outrage that I am myself feeling and many others are feeling as well. Professional wrestling is a work. It is an athletic dance. It is not real. It is predetermined movement. It is physical. It can be violent. It can be dangerous. But it is a form of entertainment that is not the same as sport. But since the early days of wrestling, when they wanted you to believe it was real, it has been under the purview of athletic commissions. Fatal, I'm talking about, you can just understand what I'm saying. It's not difficult. What I'm talking about right now is not hard to grasp, unless you're an asshole. Not difficult. Sorry, but not sorry about that. So yeah, athletic commissions oversee professional wrestling on the local level, independent, and then traveling wrestling shows like your WWE, WCW of the past, and of course AEW today. They deal with those local commissions, and some of them are like fire code things. They're small little things. Some of them are licenses that you have to operate in the state. Some of them are arcane, outdated rules. If you're going to have, some of them are safety. If you're going to have fire, if you're going to have pyrotechnics, if you are going to do a cage match, you have to inform the local people. Like, it's a lot of stuff like that. And then some states have incredibly arcane rules that are in place for actual live sport like boxing, but they also enforce for professional wrestling. Fatal, I'm not going to be able to help you, my friend. I am not going to be able to have the answers that you're looking for. I'm sorry. I just am not going to continue to engage with you. You can enjoy, you can watch, it's fine. But I have a thing that I want to talk about, and it's not what you want to talk about, and that's okay. But we're not going to do this. Sorry. So, getting back to what I wanted to chat with you tonight about. So they have local rules, and one of those local rules that many states in the United States have, unfortunately, is because, again, boxing and wrestling, they're in charge of both of them. are rules about intergender wrestling. We're going to keep saying intergender wrestling here tonight, but it's an outdated term because it makes it seem like there's a gender binary, which there isn't. But for the purposes of this, we're going to keep with intergender wrestling. Because it is easier than saying all gender wrestling. That is a term that some people are using. Not everyone's using that. Some people are using it. And it doesn't, unfortunately, make all the sense in the world to some people. So we're going to keep with, we're going to keep going with intergender for the sake. So many states in America say intergender, no good. Not a thing that we're going to be talking about tonight. Or not a thing that they're into at all, right? One of those states is the state of Oklahoma. Now, Tony Khan of AEW doesn't like intergender wrestling. He books mixed gender tag matches, but there's seemingly no contact. Sometimes there is, but it is, for the plot line. But you are not going to see two people of differing genders in the same ring together on a one-on-one encounter. That's just not something he's interested in booking. He's wrong, but that's not something he's interested in. So you're saying, well, then it should be fine, right? Because they don't do intergender wrestling in AEW. They don't have to worry about that, right? Well, if you're in Oklahoma, that is a thing that they have to deal with because Oklahoma does not respect transgendered wrestlers or transgender people in general. The Oklahoma State Athletic Commission basically wrongly feels that if a transgender woman wrestles a cisgender woman, that's intergender wrestling, which we know on this stream, we are aware that transgender men and women and non-binary folks are men and women and non-binary folks. That that Nyla Rose competing in a Ring of Honor taping in the state of Oklahoma is fine and in the clear because Nyla Rose is a woman fighting against a woman. Therefore, it's not intergender wrestling. Shut the fuck up. So, why is this coming to a head? Well, apparently, an independent wrestling organization within the state of Oklahoma had been called out for booking an intergender wrestling match. And again, this was not an intergender wrestling match. This was a trans wrestler booking. And apparently they were like, well, AEW did it. Now, were they trying to throw AEW under the bus? Possibly. Were they maybe trying to make this a bigger deal? Because there have been people who are trans in the state of Oklahoma who have been denied their wrestling license. So maybe they were trying to bring about some awareness of the issue. That's possible. Either way, they sent a letter to AEW basically like warning them that they broke the rules. And this has been widely fucking criticized, rightfully. A lot of support for Nyla Rose. Lot of constructive and not so constructive feedback sent to the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission about said issue. And it is, and then I will say this, Tony Khan, to his credit, did make a statement. There was a media call because they have a pay-per-view this weekend, and thankfully someone did on the media call go, "Hey Tony, what do you think? What do you think, bud? What do you think about what's going on here?" Sorry, I missed a piece over here. To which Tony said, really surprised. It's not something I was expecting. I was disappointed by the commission's position and that warning. I don't think we did anything wrong. I don't think there should be any discrimination against transgendered wrestlers. And then he does follow up with, or transgendered people at all, which is like, yeah, These are common sense things, but you don't necessarily expect the head of a large company to make such a statement, but we appreciate that, of course. AEW stands by Nyla Rose and all transgender people who want to play sports. This is wrestling. There's nothing wrong with it. Nyla Rose is a great wrestler and been a great world champion. It's very true. She was the first transgendered world champion ever. Debatable to say first world champion ever. That is saying that the Young Lion Cup, it's splitting hairs. He's saying of a major company, it's splitting hairs. It's probably inaccurate, but sure. I hope the Oklahoma Commission can do the same thing about embracing her, basically. So there's more. There's a little more to the story, thanks to Walker Stewart. Walker Stewart is currently the voice for English commentary for New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he is a native of Oklahoma and was part of the Oklahoma scene. Doing commentary, and he has he was able to let people know a little bit more background. So he goes, here's a fun rant about the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission, knowing full well they can't come after me the way they come after my friends for various things recently, because he's not a wrestler. Always wanted to see Oklahoma wrestling in the spotlight, but it's archaic rules such as those mentioned in the statement that won't allow this to be the case, which, again, fair and true. The Oklahoma Athletic Commission is a cancer on the wrestling scene in Oklahoma, a money grab that does nothing to protect the wrestlers or protect the industry. They require a blood test, a physical, and $30 every year to wrestle. So you have to pay for a wrestling license. I think that's totally reasonable to cover overhead and all the other stuff. And the things that the commission should theoretically do, which is protections for venues, the wrestling as a whole, and, of course, the wrestlers, which they don't do anything of. They do nothing regarding people faking their blood tests or even faking licenses when checked at events, making them inherently useless. Totally fair to say that. The Oklahoma State Athletic Commission takes a percentage of the gate, which many promoters use as an excuse for why they can't pay people decently. And whether that's the reason why or not, there is no need to take percentage of a house if you're set in place to facilitate a healthy scene. Yes, the fact that they take a cut for, again, overhead, question mark. And, of course, the fact that the OSAC has no jurisdiction over Native American land, and Oklahoma heavily consists of native land. Pick related in the replies that shows a map of the area. Yet, I'm consistently seeing commissioners appearing in Tulsa, McAllister, Armont, etc. What's up with that? It should be noted here, it does not change anything, but it should be noted, Nyla Rose is native. So it is extra shitty that this is coming on her, considering how much time this organization exerts its power over a region they should have nothing to do with. Super fun. Finally, inherently sexist laws have led to wrestlers being suspended for short sequences for intergender action within the last year. And so this is not even like, oh, this wasn't a match. It was just like some contact. No, you get fined. Great. And suspended. Now transphobic laws leading to this commission meeting about a transgender wrestler who competes all across the country, yet in Oklahoma, it's subject to litigation. Again, it was just a warning. In full support of commission done right. This is Walker saying this. He says, I'm not an anarchist. A governing body that protects the industry and sets high standards for the community is welcomed, but one with archaic and prejudiced rules such as those mentioned shouldn't exist. Dismantling it like they did in Arkansas after a racketeering lawsuit, which is true and kind of an interesting case out of Arkansas. or reforming it, which seems unlikely based on the political climate of the state. I don't believe reform dissolution. I believe this is a misspoke. I believe reform dissolution of the OSAC would improve the pro wrestling scene in Oklahoma tenfold. There's a lack of proper training. There's lack of etiquette, and there are people who want to try and rule over talent and areas with an iron thumb, like the territory days. Let's start with not banning transgender athletes in a predetermined sports-based theatrical performance and see where we go from there. End rant. And I believe there is a follow-up. See. Yes. Not to mention one individual I know who trained religiously in Oklahoma to become a wrestler and or referee, only to apply for his license and be rejected because he is transgendered. Haven't seen him around since, despite his passion. Breaks my heart. Many have tried to take down the OSAC in the past. Only for those officials to be warned. Friends of mine who had worked with government officials, only for those officials to be warned off by those in the commission themselves and run away from making actual change. Forgot to mention a bunch of good people are currently being suspended and awaiting hearings over working a show on tribal land from back in October without the commission's knowledge. You know, tribal land, the place where OSAC claims to not have jurisdiction. It's a fucking nightmare out there for a lot of people, and in ways that I think some folks don't ever really think about. And I'm not saying that, like, not knowing about this stuff makes you a bad person, but I am saying that it's good to be aware of these things, right? Yes, and yeah, it's complete. Like, so here's the deal, right? If they had Nyla Rose in a match with a man for Ring of Honor, Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Athletics Commission, would be fine with that because they view her as a male. But the owner of the company in AEW wouldn't be okay with that because he doesn't want to break intergender rules because Nyla is a woman. So, literally, you can't win. You just can't book a trans woman on a card in Oklahoma, or trans man on a card in Oklahoma. So it's just an exclusion. Yes, and then in a follow-up, this wasn't in the article that I was reading from about his thoughts, but there was a follow-up where they were like, do you think that AEW will continue to do business in Oklahoma? To which Tony Khan said, I haven't come to that decision yet. I can't say for sure, which is more than you would expect because they haven't, it's not like Oklahoma is a hotbed of professional wrestling. It is not one of AEW's regular spots. It ain't Chicago, you know, it ain't Jacksonville, Florida. It is not a place they go to all the fucking time. It is a place that they're trying out as they try states to see how states feel, you know. Turns out Texas really fucking likes AEW. They're going to keep going back to Texas. It was their first ever event in Oklahoma. Yes, like I said, they're trying a bunch of states they haven't really been to because they want to see. They want to see, like, what the response is to various shows. What we got here? We got a new follow. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. I built model kits and Lego sets. We're currently working on a cool Lego set, and I am talking about some fucking bullshit in the world of professional wrestling. But yeah, it is rough. The fact that Tony just said yeah, not really sure, and that is unfortunately doesn't help local talent, right? Like AEW choosing hello in Tokyo, AEW choosing not to perform in the state of Oklahoma Does mean that some local wrestlers aren't going to get opportunities to be seen as enhancement talent for Ring of Honor and for dark matches. It does mean that people who don't necessarily go to live wrestling, who might want to go to a big wrestling show, might not then go to a local show because they had such a good time. And, well, when's AEW coming back? Well, we don't know. So, I don't know. Let's go to this other thing. Like, big wrestling coming to town boosts local wrestling quite a bit. Especially if they showcase local talent. You can be like, as seen on AEW, one of our top stars was on there. Welcome. Hello. Hola. I don't speak any Spanish, so I hope that you still have a good time and welcome. Enjoy. Is a very strange stream tonight, folks. We're getting a lot of folks, a lot of first-time chatters, which is great, and welcome. Welcome. Happy to have you here. But yeah, an interesting evening of a lot of new folks coming through. Yes, indeed. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about what's happening there. I think some people are, and it's good that people are learning that there are still arcane rules on the board, across the board, that getting a solution to this would be to remove those athletic commissions from having any governance over wrestling. Another way would, of course, be to get rid of those arcane rules about intergender wrestling. Again, not in every state. These are just in some states, because if those intergender rules weren't there, then this would not be an issue. And then, yeah, the simple, easy thing is, okay, well, instead of just not booking one of our performers because we have to placate a state government, a state board, we'll just not go. Which, again, sucks for the fans. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just like the practicality of it, right? So, you need a lot of people to care about a thing. This is the thing that I have experienced in my own personal life here. Previous employment. This is going to sound completely unrelated, but I'll get to my point eventually. So, years ago, when I still worked at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, we were opening up a new location in the East Village. So it was going to be our secondary theater, smaller stage. We were going to do more stand-up there, a little less improv, and we're setting things up for it. And we had a concession stand. We called it a bar. It wasn't a bar. It was a concession stand, because the idea was that it was like, oh, well, you can get drinks and you can bring those drinks back to your seats. Because if you're doing concessions, then you can get a cabaret license instead of getting a full liquor license. It just makes life easier. Beer and wine concession stand. We're going to do that. That venue had not had a bar in it or a concession stand in it when we took over. So we needed a new liquor license. Now, you'd think we would be able to get that because we had another venue with a liquor license, right? And you're right. That should be how it goes. It should be, well, you've had a liquor license before. You haven't had any issues. You're having a new branch. Sure, you got to fill out this paperwork, and then these people have to sign it, and you're good. The thing is, with a lot of local government, including in New York City, is the people who are in charge of permits and signing permits and licenses get paid either way. So they get paid if they approve 1 or 100 or 0. So there is no actual incentive to do it. Now, it could be that somebody locally is interested in a thing, or somebody's friend wants to do a thing. Then that stuff can get handled. But if you were just a company and you are just wanting to open a business, they don't have to do it. So you do all the paperwork, you do all the things you're supposed to do. And it's not even about bribes, because if it was about bribes, it would be faster. And in some instances, easier. Because if it's just, well, you give this guy X amount of dollars and then this happens. You donate to this thing and then suddenly this other thing works. That was not the case. You just had to wait and hope that at some point, somebody decided they wanted to do that part of their job. We're going to do some flair here on our roller skates. We'll be doing that. And so it took a very long time. And so we're paying rent on a venue that we can't do shows in yet because a big portion of that business was liquor sales. Not liquor, but beer and wine sales. Beer and wine sales were going to be way more than ticket sales, right? So you just have to wait. And you call some people and you see whose favors you have, right? And at a certain point, I was not the first person to say this. I know. But at a certain point, I just asked my boss, do we have to get Amy involved? And we're like, because one of the owners of the theater, they've now sold the UCB name and the theater names to other people. But at the time, one of the owners was Amy Poehler, who had been on SNL and, of course, Parks and Recreation and a bunch of movies and such, Mean Girls. And the idea was like, maybe Amy could like we could be like name drop, or she could like, we could get like it written in like Time Out maybe, or could we get her on New York One? New York One is basically like if you have cable in New York, you get this channel. It's a 24-hour news channel focused on New York. You mostly would be aware of it in like movies set in New York. Sometimes have like New York One correspondents on it to really make it feel like it's a movie shot in New York. The Spider-Man movies, stuff like that. And we were like, should we do that? We don't want to do that. We don't want to bother her and might not even do anything and all that. So we decided we're not going to do that. And then, without asking, without checking in with us, without any of us asking him to do it, lo and behold, our friend Charlie was on New York One being interviewed about Charlie, a performer at the theater, longtime performer at the theater. Charlie was being interviewed by New York One about the latest Improv Everywhere shenanigans that he was up to, because Charlie is the founder of Improv Everywhere, the prank happenings collective. And Charlie was on New York One about a thing that had just happened, and then casually in conversation, although if you ask me, he knew what he was doing because Charlie is a very smart man. Charlie just said like, oh yeah, well of course. It's like, how do you know all these people? He's like, well, we have a mailing list and people ask us to do stuff. But like, hey, you know that I met most of the people involved in this at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. And they mentioned like, oh, yes, well, so-and-so, one of the anchors did monologues there the other day. Yes. Did you know we have an East Village location, but we can't open it yet because we haven't had our liquor license approved yet. It's such a bummer. And they're like, oh, that sucks. And then someone high up in New York One made a phone call and we got our liquor license. A higher up in New York One was like, wait, what's going on? He talked to Charlie after it and was like, oh, all right, I can probably make a call. And that's how we got our liquor license approved. And I say this anecdote, I tell you this story in order to make you understand that local government is bullshit. It sucks. So the only real way to get things done is to make a fucking stink. So valued at several, I believe AEW is valued at $2 billion, which values it or whatever. AEW is valued at $2 billion right now. Having a $2 billion evaluated company say, we don't know if we'll ever show up in Oklahoma again. Is Tony Khan is indeed actually Tony Khan maybe making a difference. Because the one thing you've got to hope is that somebody who has more power in the state of Oklahoma than the Athletic Commission gets wind of that and goes, hey, did you just lose us a bunch of fucking money? What are we doing here? And that's what you have to hope for in local government, is that someone bigger in local government is pissed off at what you just did. And it's fucking sucks. Yeah, local government is bullshit in a lot of ways. Now, incredibly small local government sometimes is just trying to get by, trying to do the right thing, trying to get be good to people and all of that. And I'm not trying to paint all commissions the same, and I'm not trying to say that every local government is the same and every state government is the same, but a lot of them are. So yeah, if you ever need something to move at a government level, the best thing to do is to get someone who is more powerful than you to take an interest, which sucks. A lot of local government is just full of people that don't have anything else to do. Yeah, in some ways, you're totally right in some ways. It is a mix, right? There are a lot of people who want to make a difference on the local level because they feel incredibly frustrated on a global level or on a country level. And so, or even a state level. And so they are looking to make a difference on the local level. And they run into people who, you know, this is not new. It's new that on a higher level, we have a lot more people who are in local government, you know, or they're in larger government stuff, even so far as like Senate and you know, in the House, that are just business people looking out for their own personal interests. On the local level, that has been true for many, many years. That is a true statement in government, that sometimes you get so sick of what your local government is doing about your business that you end up running for local government in order to change the rules to benefit yourself and those like you, which sucks. That is a certain element that sucks, but it's not every time. Not every time. The larger hope is that Oklahoma takes a good hard look at what they're doing, that maybe there's some pressure from other people. Maybe the Oklahoma State Tourism Board goes, change some shit. You're fucking this up for us now. Your local scam is now affecting us, and we don't like that. That is unfortunately a best case scenario. But all the love to Nyla Rose, a Dark Sheik, who is also a trans woman wrestler, tweeted out, I didn't want to go to Oklahoma anyway, which is a lovely defiant statement. But also, if a wrestling organization in Oklahoma wanted to book Dark Sheik, that would be fucking cool, because Dark Sheik ruled and had one of the best wrestling matches of WrestleMania weekend and at Effie's Big Gay Brunch. Dark Sheik versus why is that name escaping me? Sonny Kiss. I don't know why I blanked on Sonny Kiss's name. Sonny and Dark Sheik had my favorite match of the weekend, of that weekend. So it's we're working on this big old boot. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the 3-in-1 kits, when we finish with this, we have to take it apart so that we can then build the skateboard and the boombox. You don't get all three in a kit. It's a 3-in-1. You get 3 different kinds of kits. So if I was going to display one of these things, I would have done this last, because I'm probably not going to display any of this. We went with the coolest one first, and then we'll go and build in the rest of the other ones. I think the other ones are going to look awesome as well, but this one's the top tier in my opinion. Speaking of AEW, I guess we should probably just talk a little bit about the card for Dynasty. I will be um, uh, you think the boombox is the best? I hear you, Zeno. I hear you. I love this. The thing about the skate is I can't wait to use these pieces to make the laces. I am very interested in how those laces are going to look because I think that's an interesting idea, and so I am somewhat fascinated by how that's going to work. So I'm looking forward to that. But I understand people got their favorites. Totally hear you. Yeah, there's a pay-per-view this Sunday, Dynasty. Some matches have been announced. Right now, it is a 12-match card between pre-show and the main show, which is too many matches. That's going to be 3 matches pre-show, and then 10 matches on the main card, or 9 matches on the main card. AEW loves doing this. They have another pay-per-view in a month. Double or Nothing is a month from this one. They could just hold some stuff back, but instead, so many matches, all of the matches. We'll go through all of them on Saturday probably, because then we'll kind of know. Oh, you're interested in the skateboard to see how well it works with Gundams. Okay. When we build a skateboard, I'll have a Gundam ready. See how a Gundam looks on that skateboard. I think that's fair. Yeah. The worst. I'll say this. We'll go through the whole card on Saturday again because things will be finalized. Um, the whole card looks pretty solid. I would say the weakest match on the card would be the FTW rules match for the FTW Championship. Hook defending against Chris Jericho because this storyline is balls. I'm not particularly thrilled with the storyline. I'm not particularly interested in Hook facing Jericho again because they just wrestled on TV not too long ago. This will be an FTW match, which means that it's a hardcore match. So we will see Jericho in a hardcore match. That's kind of interesting. It's not super interesting. This has been an opportunity for Hook, the son of Taz, to be on the microphone, which he is not uber confident in and not super strong in. And this whole thing has been kind of sped up, in my opinion. They've been kind of speed running it. And I'm a little like meh about it. But I could come around on it. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that good, but it could be fun. All right, so I'm not really sure what we're building here. I mean, we're doing something with the loops because we're basically done with most of the sneaker here. So we got to do the loops. I think that's what we're doing here. But yeah, the card doesn't seem too bad. Seems pretty okay. We'll go through that whole thing on Saturday, I think. Do some video game news here. Take a quick look about the news. Gonna hit the refresh button, see if there's anything there. Let's see. We got more. Unfortunately, in what appears to be a continuing updating story, more layoffs. The publisher, Modern Wolf, has cut 6 jobs. They are a very small studio. 6 jobs is still a lot of jobs. Let's see. Company restructuring. They have not put out a game yet this year. They are a company that exists for 5 years. That releases a lot of indie titles. Their last one was a game called Cantata, which came out last year. And yeah, it's just another small. It's like, again, a small studio. In other years, In other years, it wouldn't even be news, but since so many people have been laid off, I felt the need to at least mention it. Yeah, and one of the people laid off was one of the ex-brand head, and he and the senior comms manager plan to start something new. So hopefully good luck to them in their future. I hope they manage to do something cool. All right, so this is going to be the backbone of our loops here, our laces loops, it looks like. So we'll get those on there. And then this is going to go on here. Yes, this is going to be how our loops begin, apparently. We'll figure out how this works now. Let's see. Any other gaming news? Let's see. Let's see. Take-Two is also doing layoffs. You may remember that Take-Two just recently acquired Gearbox Studios for $460 million to get Gearbox Interactive and a bunch of other things in the deal. But they are reducing headcount by 5%. And closing projects and laying people off. And of course, it's an FEC filing, so they have to say, this is going to cost us a bunch of money to do this in the short term, but in the long term, it won't. But that short term will be almost $200 million. So basically is going to cost in payouts and all that and severance and all that other stuff to eliminate these jobs is going to be short-term expensive for them. And then theoretically they will make up for it. Maybe acquiring a studio was not the way to do that. But who knows? Ugh. In pretty okay news, I will say, this is going to be, we're going from millions to thousands, right? So we're going a lot less money, but when you think about the scale of what we're going here, maybe I should have started with the story like in good news, but I didn't start with that story in good news, so here we go. Apparently, more than 70,000. Zeno's got work tomorrow. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, Zeno. Appreciate that. Thanks for being in chat. Always happy to see you hanging out. And yeah, have a good one. Thank you. So 70,000, more than 70,000 Playdates have sold, which for a small little weird device is pretty fucking good. And in other good news related, Playdate developers have collectively, this is across all Playdate developers, have earned over $500,000 by selling their titles on the catalog marketplace. Now, that's in a year. That's the first anniversary. That's a year. They sold 70,000 in a year, and developers among them all, that's 500,000. Now that's through the catalog. That does not include people that have sold stuff on itch and other places to load onto your Playdate. We don't know what that number is. That's just people through there. Thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. Yes, for a small indie little store, that money in a year is pretty great. Apparently, the Playdate sold over 150,000 titles via catalog over the past year. generating $544,290 in gross revenue after taxes, processing fees, and Panic's 25% distribution fee. So Panic takes a cut. So Panic made a little bit of money, which is great because they did make the device. So sure. And apparently sometimes I like these statistics. These statistics to me are fascinating. Apparently, 53% of Playdate owners have made a catalog purchase. Because you do get games. There was a whole season, and when you got the Playdate first, you were getting new games every week. So there are people who just get, you know, we're doing 2 of these, huh? So I'm going to do 2 of these. Yeah, all right, we can do them at the same time. There are people who just buy the thing, played whatever it comes with, and that's it. That's all they want for it. But 53%, that's pretty fucking good. The 53% were like, oh, I'll buy something. Playdate owners in US, UK, Germany, Canada, and Japan contributed to the bulk of those sales. 1,500 purchases were made during the recent catalog anniversary sale. So I guess apparently some of those came on sale there, which is rad. Let's see. Panic sold over 70,000 units worldwide since 2020, too. And the store has been up for a year. And I did want to say there are people who sell things on other stores. So there are people who are making money through Itch and other places that then can load their games on there. So this is just through the official catalog, which makes sense. That would be where most people would be buying things because it's right there. And Panic is pretty fucking psyched about that shit. They're pretty pleased with selling all that. It's great. It's nice to have a fun video game story. It's just nice. It's like nice to be able to report that, hey, people are selling a cool, weird little thing is selling well enough. And that's nice. All right, so we got to put these on here. Oh, I need 2 gray. All right, we'll do that. And we'll put that on there. We are working here, I guess, I believe, on the actual like wheels portion of this build. So we're going to get that. We're going to work on that. Let's see. Any other news from we want to talk about here? Here's a weird bit of news. A classic Sega title is getting a animated comedy series for Comedy Central. So I'm going to say all of those important words again. Sega title, animated comedy, Comedy Central. From one of the producers and creators of Lower Decks, Mike McCannon is making a comedy series based on Golden Axe. Golden Axe is getting its own animated comedy series. That is a true thing that I am telling you about right now. That is weird and true. Lastbrook says, my Pokemon Go avatar updated. Who is this person? Yes. I changed what my avatar looks like in Pokemon Go a little bit. Changed them up a little bit. Felt like doing it. Wait. Did I do something wrong here? Yes, I did. This is wrong. I did something wrong, everybody. That's supposed to go there. Great. I fixed it. Apparently, Lower Decks is ending with Season 5. And so the next project for Joe Chandler, who worked on American Dad, and Mike McCannon, they co-write the first episode and executive produce a 10-episode series for Comedy Central. Golden Axe heroes Axe Battler, Tyrus Flare, and Gilius Thunderhead will face down the evil Death Adder in the animated comedy, and they'll be joined by an all-new character, inexperienced adventurer, Hampton Squibb, voiced by Danny Pudi. Matthew Rice is playing the dwarf. Lisa Gilroy is the swordswoman, and Liam McIntyre is Axe, who does not fight with an axe, and is described as a barbarian warrior with a strict code of honor and sweet golden retriever demeanor. Because you may remember that the main character is not the axe wielder. That's the barbarian uses his name is Axe, but he's not. That's not the funniest thing in the world, but that's not bad. Yeah. Comedy Central's Golden Axe will feature another deep-cut character from the franchise, Kronos. Kronos is the Black Panther human hybrid warrior from Sega Genesis sequel Golden Axe 3, who was turned into a beastman by the game's big bad boss, Damned Hellstrike. So there's a deep cut in there. You got to have played the Sega Genesis Golden Axe 3 to know that character. Titmouse is doing it, because of course they are. Completely weird. There is supposedly Golden Axe is part of Sega's, like, we're doing modern versions of a bunch of this bullshit. They did include among that, they said that one of them was going to be Golden Axe. So there will be a new Golden Axe game. It just feels so weird. It feels like they wanted to write a action comedy, like a medieval action comedy, and someone said, you know, the rights to Golden Axe are cheap. And one person said, oh yeah, Golden Axe. Like, to me, that's... And then they, like, looked at the Wikipedia page and saw that there were a lot of silly character names. And that's how we ended up here. Again, this is, what do I know? But that's what it feels like to me. Let me just go back here. Did I do... When this was... Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to say, there was a piece down here I didn't recognize, and that's because I didn't put it on there. Goes on there, and that's going to tell me how this goes. Oh, I love that about Lego, that you can just fix your mistakes, that you can see, like, I don't think I did this right. You can go in and fix it. All right. We're almost done with this, I guess. Still got to do the loops and the wheels, but we'll keep on. Now we're going back to doing the loops here. And we'll get into doing that after a brief change up, where I talk to you about ways you can support what I do here. It's the Pause for the Cause. If you were unfamiliar, if you're new here, welcome, welcome. Every stream, I take a couple of minutes at the middle of it, just talk to you about ways you can support the channel if you would like to. You are, of course, under no obligation to do so. But if you are interested in helping me out, so I can keep building Lego and model kits and having a good time and talking to you about stuff, you have the opportunity to do that. If you are currently a subscriber, first and foremost, let's throw the Bear Cave Lego site and Tier 2 Blue emote in the chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here. You don't see ads during the stream. You don't get pre-roll. You don't get mid-roll ads. You get some cool emotes. And, you know, like I said, pretty easy way to support what I do here for $5 a month if you would like to do that. Obviously, you're under no obligation to do so, but if you want to, you could. We're currently at 37 subscribers. The goal is to get to 50. I shut up about it when we get to 50. If you want to become a subscriber and help me out, maybe get to my goal, you could do that. You could gift a sub like Bobby Dice Roller did and Aristfan did. You could join the gift sub leaderboard. That's always cool. You can do it anonymously or take credit, and I'll give you a thank you for that. And then, of course, you could do cheer if you want to be top of the cheerleader board with Harold. You could do that as well. Obviously, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, I'd appreciate it. There are other ways to support what I do here financially. I'm going to go through all of those, hopefully quickly, and then we'll get back to working on this Lego set. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. There is a $1, $3, and $5 and $10 tier. I'm going to move my keyboard to do this better. Consider joining me on Patreon at one of those tiers. Different rewards. Take a look at them. See if there's something that's right for you. Means a lot that people consider supporting me anywhere. So I give you plenty of options where you can do it. I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, that's free. If you want to go to my YouTube, youtube.com/PatBear, you go there. You could become a subscriber for free. You get some cool videos from me, and you know when they come up. If you wanted to, while you were there, you could become a member. I got memberships over there. For just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. Pretty neat. And then those are monthly ways to support what I do, reoccurring monthly bills. But if you wanted to, if you really wanted to, you could just do a one-time donation. Oops, that's the wrong button. I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing. I did donate. I meant to do monies. That's somewhat related because I am trying to get some dental work done. But yeah, go to my Ko-Fi, go to my PayPal. That's a tip jar if you just want a one-time help me out. Everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, which includes AdSense, through Patreon, and through Twitch, all goes into a fund. And from that fund, I pull money out and I buy model kits and Lego sets, including this kit that I'm working on right now. Ooh, we'll get the lighting changes so you can look at that right there. The Roller Skate 3-in-1 from Lego that I'm currently building was purchased off. I purchased it because I thought it would be neat to build. I've got a backlog of some cool shit that I can't wait to work on. If you want to buy something and have it jump the queue, become the next thing I build, get its own dedicated YouTube video, you can go to my Amazon wish list and see if there's something there you'd like to see me build. And when I finish this Lego 3-in-1, I'll build anything that is purchased off my wish list before I go to my backlog. I've got Lego sets. I got model kits. I have inexpensive kits like the F91 Lego model kit. That's very inexpensive. That's $17. That's a pretty cheap high grade. I've got expensive model kits. I got stuff that's on sale, stuff that's never on sale. Lego sets, like a hot dog truck, the food truck, but it's shaped like a hot dog. I would love to build that. You could buy that off my wish list, and I would build it. Inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that never go on sale, kits that are always on sale. Some gear. It's always nice to have some new equipment. If there's something there you'd like to see me build because you want to support me, but you don't know what to buy. And like I said, I make a dedicated YouTube video about it. I have a throne wish list because it's nice to have options because some people don't want to buy stuff through Amazon. My throne wish list right now I think is mostly gift cards, but you know, that's a way to support me. And then you can always go to USA Gundam Store. If you go to USA Gundam Store, you buy a gift card there. It's a digital one, so they send you an email with the code. Then you send me a DM on Twitter or a whisper here on Twitch with that gift card code. It is the most convoluted way to support me, but it does work, and people have done it. So you could do that as well if you wanted to. If you want to support me and not spend any money, you can go to my Discord. My Discord is full of kind, wonderful folks. You're more than welcome to come hang out there. I post build photos at the end of every stream. People post stuff they're working on. Sometimes I yell about anime like I did today a little bit. Speaking of anime, I got some video links for you to check out. This week I put up a new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club where I talked about all 11 isekai that are out this season. New, returning, and continuing isekai. There's 11 of them. I'm only watching like 5. So I talked about all of them, why I'm not watching some, why I might watch some eventually, why I am watching some. So take a look at that. See if there's something there that you're just like, oh, cool. There might be something there that that you're like, oh, I should add it to my watch list. My other anime thing that I've got going on a weekly basis is Kuma Baer. Kuma Baer is your weekly anime recommendation where I, in under a minute, in a YouTube short that's also on Instagram and on TikTok, try to convince you to check out an anime from that I like. This month in April, I've been talking about shows that aired in the winter season, so early this year. And so I am talking about the fantastic anime, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. It's an isekai, and the main character does get very strong, but it doesn't start out that way. It is a nice slow build over 13 episodes, and there's a cool blue bear in it, which is fun. But it doesn't get to do enough, but it is in there. Take a look at my video, see if there's something that you want to check out, and see, go from there. We're going to continue to talk about anime. I'm going to talk about 2 shows that I have been watching this week. Before we can get into that, I do need to drink some water because my throat is parched. So I'm going to drink some water, then we are going to jump in to the anime, and we'll do that right now. I gotta move my keyboard. I have so much Lego spread out over here that I had to put my keyboard far away, and then I couldn't hit the enter button during the middle. Behind the scenes. Anyway, let's talk about 2 shows, Bartender, Glass of God, and The Many Sides of Voice Actor Radio. As I complete these things, then I can do them 2 at a time, so I will do them 2 at a time. Because we're building laces here, apparently. Or what pass for laces, I guess I could say. So, Bartender, Glass of God, not to be confused with Bartender. This is another anime adaptation of that. Lord Crashton asked the important question, are you a Leo DiCaprio pointing gif every time a bear shows up in a thing you're watching? I am more about that with shows where there is a character named Patrick. It has almost never happened. But occasionally there's an isekai with a character named Patrick. He is a minor character in Tsukini Michi. And he is a supporting character in Villainous Level 99. So it does happen on occasion. I'm more interested in that. I was just pointing out because... the bear is cute. When there's a cute animal around, sometimes I will point that out as a selling point. So, Bartender, Glass of God. This is a new anime adaptation. It is not a sequel to the previous one. It is not. It is just a new version. The plot that you need to understand for it. Obviously, it's visual, right? Of course it is. It's mostly about very detailed, expensive-looking animation in the realm of making drinks. But beyond that, it's still a fun story. The premise is there is a Hotel Cardinal, and they're going to open up a new bar, and they want the perfect bartender. The glass of God, someone that can serve the glass of God. That is what the chairman says. There are 2 low-level employees who are desperate to find someone, to find the perfect person. Miwa and Hikari are challenged with finding this perfect person, and they think they have the perfect person. They think Ryu would be the best man. This is the best bartender they've seen. But he says no. He rejected them twice. He says it's because he's scared of heights. But through research, they found out he did already work at a building that's even bigger than Hotel Cardinal. So they don't know what's going on with that. But they're hopeful to figure it out. The start of this episode, they're like, let's hire someone else because we aren't sure if we're going to be able to get Ryu. So maybe we need to get like our second best choice. Let's see. The chairman's obsessed with Ryu because of this bartender named... okay, so his name is Kuzuhara. Another bartender, a rival bartender, is named Kuzuhara. He is referred to as Mr. Perfect. He is not the professional wrestler Mr. Perfect, but he is referred to as Mr. Perfect as in he makes the perfect drink. Apparently. Hate it. It's weird. But he's called Mr. Perfect, so I'm just going to say that. I'm not talking about the wrestler. Miwa and her grandfather, who is the chairman who we met last episode, is apparently the grandfather of one of the employees. Nepotism. Real Nepo grandbaby here. But apparently they're going to go and get a drink. They end up at this bar. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. A lot of follows tonight. Real strange. Welcome. Everyone is welcome. I am not trying to be weird about it. But I am just pointing out the obvious that we had a lot of new followers tonight. And that's pretty cool. I am talking about the anime Bartender, Glass of God, episode 3. Miwa and the chairman go and visit this great bartender, Mr. Perfect, and apparently, chairman kind of sets a bit of a trap because he's just like, oh, you know, I love that Ryu guy. I really wish we could hire him because he's so great and he's so perfect. Then the granddaughter and the grandfather go to Ryu's bar. While they're there, a woman shows up and she orders a B&B. There's some back and forth talk. There's a lot of talk about the drink. There's a lot of specifics about the drink. She then says that she has had the courage to quit her job thanks to him. And he then talks to the grandfather and granddaughter. And he's like, she's a bartender. I can tell. Because she asked about like the hours of the bar, which normal customers don't ask about. And she was paying attention to how he made the drinks. And there's a couple other explanations he gives later. Mr. Perfect arrives in Ryu's bar because, of course, that was the plan all along. He asks for a gin fizz and wants to know the history of the gin fizz, which Ryu kind of tells him about. And apparently Ryu made a slight change to it. He didn't do it note for note. He kind of did his own take on it. And he used a particular kind of sugar. So he just kind of did his own take on the thing. All right, we need these here and this to get our laces done here. Finish our laces. Then he recognized that this guy's a bartender because apparently, and this is not a thing I knew because I don't know a lot about alcohol, but this show takes it very seriously. A gin fizz is like uses everything you need to know about being a bartender. It basically is a way for bartenders to judge other bartenders is through making the gin fizz. Let's see. And he's like, yeah, it was good. It's not perfect, which is like, I guess his fucking catchphrase. But he's like, yeah, it's not the perfect drink. Let's see. Ryu ends up meeting with that bartender from earlier. And she said that she found making a B&B challenging and that him making it was kind of like her recognizing her own faults. And he's like, basically like, well, maybe you should quit bartending. And I think he's trying to like light a fire under her, but it does come off as like rude as hell. It's like, all right, dude. Just met this woman for coffee. You don't have to be a dick about it. It's a little surprising. But I do think he's trying to like motivate her, I guess. Oops, this is not right. So we'll do this like this. And then we'll do this like this. All right, there's our laces. You can see that there. Our laces are done. And kind of shove them around there. And all that's left for this, I believe, is the wheels. Yeah, we're going to make 4 wheels, so we need 4 of these. And we need 4 of these. And then we need 4 of these. And 4 nice big. The laces, yeah, I think the laces look really neat, Lord Crescent, considering like, yeah, I think it's very well done. Okay, so there's another scene. She's irritated by him basically being like, I don't know, well, maybe you shouldn't be a bartender anymore. So she leaves, and I think he's just trying to motivate her. Let's see. The chairman invites Ryu to Mr. Perfect's bar, and basically asks both of them to make the same drink, which is like, I know this dude is trying to do something here, but it's just rude. This is a scandalous behavior. They make the same drink, which is a Manhattan, and Miwa does a blind taste, and she likes Ryu's better because he made it a little warmer because she was in a rush, and so he was trying to like match her temperature. And then later, Mr. Perfect is like, well, drink them again. And she's like, actually, I like that one better because after she's gotten adjusted, she actually likes the traditional one better. And Ryu is like, this is a perfect drink. And then Mr. Burgers is like, hey, if you're just trying to please people, you're never going to make the perfect drink. Because, it's like, yeah, you can please them, but a perfect drink is the thing they're going to remember, which is like, no, not really. So it's, and Ryu is just like, okay. Because Miwa tries to cheer her up a little bit. It's interesting. So I was expecting a lot of like, hey, this guy makes a drink that solves us a minor problem, which we saw in episodes 1 and 2. That kind of felt like the pacing here. Meanwhile, they're trying to get him to work at this job he doesn't want to work at. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. And we've changed this up by adding in someone with a differing opinion. Where Ryu is trying to tailor drinks to make people happy. We now have Mr. Perfect, who is trying to do like the best drink with the philosophy that if it's the best, then people will like it. It doesn't have to be tailored to them. So we have an opposing viewpoint. It makes for an interesting story and changes it up a little bit more than I was expecting. I was expecting, again, it to be like a very one-note show that's still very enjoyable. And it is. Even with this change, it's still a very enjoyable show. It's just now it's a little different. And I don't hate that difference. I think that difference is pretty cool. The other show I have been watching, this is episode 2 we'll talk about here, of The Many Sides of Voice Actor Radio. If you missed the first episode, we got 2 high school girls. They are both idols who are doing okay but not great. They have been picked to work on a radio show, which is mostly scripted, but the in-betweens are like improv, basically. And they are playing their idols. We find out that both girls are actually classmates, and they didn't know about each other because both have kept their public and private life different. And they are both, we have found out, dealing with similar things where they're both dealing with the fact that they are getting tired of their personas that are not that aren't them, that are just like put upon. And so we're both getting that. This episode, we were introduced to Yumiko's mom, which is fun. And apparently she's been listening, which is, as a teen, does not want her mom to be listening to her on the radio. And then, of course, it's some playfulness and all of that. We can change things up a little bit here. Do we want to do that? There's an alt thing we can do. which we will do, is we can change our thing here. We could change this out for more of a like rainbow and cloud, and so we'll do that because that's neat. Just kind of fold these down. I'm going to take a photo, and then we'll do the alt version here of it. And then, of course, then I have to disassemble, and then we have to start, you know, on Saturday we're going to build the other versions. But let me just get this going here. Okay. And then, yeah, we can take off this and put on this rainbow. We got the pieces for the rainbow here. So I need to disassemble all of this, basically, and then reassemble it all on both sides. And why not? We got these little clouds. I don't think these clouds get used anywhere else. I don't think we're going to use these clouds on the skateboard or the boombox, I don't think. So we might as well do that here. And then also we got to take all of this here. And while I disassemble this, I will tell you more about this anime. Yeah, so we got our two girls here. We meet the mom. She listened to the last episode, and Yumiko's not happy about that. And she mentioned that she thought her favorite part was how Yui thought that butcher shops didn't sell croquettes. That was like a gag from, I guess, the episode. There was something about like a shop owner, and then one of the girls was like, I didn't think they sold them there, which is a common thing that you would know. And so it was a little surprising that she didn't know that. And Yumiko's just like, yeah, I didn't know that. Okay. And yeah, I don't know why Chica was so weird about that, but she was. Let's see. And apparently Yumiko is just like, well, let's go to a butcher shop together. And they go. They want to. So this is episode 2, right? These characters who are thrust together, that have to trust one another, that don't know each other. One of them is a loner. The other one, they both kept a really low profile. One has been lying because she's really just a Giru, and she didn't want people to know that. So she's got her secret. And the other one is he's just a complete loner. So they have decided, apparently, that they are going to try to get to know one another better. Like the idea that that will make things better for the radio show. So this idea of going to butcher shop together to get croquettes is that idea. All right, so I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it on the other side. Because why not? Why wouldn't I want to put this cute look on there? I do have to take all these off, which is a little annoying, but sure. Whoops. I did drop a Lego piece. It shouldn't be a big deal. I do actually see where it is, so let me just get it real quick. Just because I saw where it was, so I'm just going to get that real quick, and then we can move on. So they go. The idea is they want to like lie less to each other because they both live huge lies because they have their real life, which they hide the fact that they are idols from their friends and not their family, but they're from their friends. And then they also hide their real personalities from all the viewers because they are trying to be something that they're not really. And they're trying to present themselves as a thing. And then also, they're also actresses as well. So they have that side of them. And so they were like, why don't we try to be like more real with each other? And they're both like kind of blown away by how nice it feels to be nice to each other. They're both pretty shocked at how it's going. And then they get their croquets. Croquettes, I should say, not croquet. They don't go do croquet. They take croquettes and they enjoy it. And apparently, like, Chica just hasn't had a lot of opportunities to do stuff like this. She's used to making her own meals, and she's kept things very simple. And apparently, both of their moms are single moms. One of whom is from divorce. The other is from being a widow. Let's see. And then they take a photo to share on social media, and it's very cute. We meet Yumiko's manager, who of course is a lady, because we have not met any dudes in this show except for like a teacher, because it's one of those shows. Apparently, Yumiko's manager's got her a gig as the lead in an anime. And also, one of her co-stars is going to be her favorite idol, and named Otome. And that's like a big fucking deal. It's like kind of crazy that is what's going to happen. Let's see. So I want to do all this. So only one above is showing. Yeah. And then we'll put this on here. Okay. Let's see. And then also, you know this, I know this, the other co-star, because it's three sisters, is of course her radio presenter co-star. And so she's kind of upset about that. And like, because of the connection. So she's like, oh, did I get this job because of who I'm working with on the radio? So she's starting to feel weird about that. All right, so we did the alternative here. I'm going to take a photo of it. And then while I talk about this anime, I'm going to disassemble this whole damn thing so that we can start working on either the skateboard or the boombox. I haven't decided yet, but I first need to disassemble so that we can then assemble. But I need to take a photo of this as well, because we have some time left in the stream so we can get into disassembly. But first, the alt version of this. All right. So now I need to take this all apart, and I'm going to separate it by color, as you are well aware. And I will properly null it before Saturday stream, where I will go and try to make sense of all this. But right now, all I can do is just disassemble it. I do have my part separator, the brick separator, if necessary. And I'm just going to do this and talk to you more about this episode. Let's see. Yumiko feels like she's part of a package deal and not actually picked for her own. So she's got some insecurities there, of course, which is rough. It's rough for her to have those insecurities. It's reasonable to have those, but still a bummer. Maybe I'll just take this part apart. Yeah, let's take this apart. I don't break things down with any rhyme or reason. I just kind of start disassembling and see where it leads and try not to drop anything on the floor. That's a big important thing, is can I do this without dropping everything and then having to go and look for it later, because that's a nightmare. Let's see. But she still takes the job because this could be her last chance, because she has certainly been struggling. And she wants to graduate from the low end to kind of blossoming and being a full-fledged voice actor. She definitely needs to get more popular. And she has a lot of lines. She's like not used to being a lead and being so important. Then we meet Otome, and apparently Yumiko even though they're friends, Yumiko feels kind of bad knowing that apparently Chika and Otome have worked together a bunch of times. And apparently Otome looks pretty, she recognizes like, oh, this girl is maybe overworked right now. She's looking mighty tired. They have a fun scene. And Chika and Yumiko have like some... Look, do I think this is a Yuri show? No. Do they want us to think that this is a Yuri show? Yes. There are some back and forths here of like Yumiko like being like, oh yeah, isn't Otome great? I wish I could be talented like her. And Chika's, this is episode 2. And Chika's just like, I really hate that about you, dumbass. Like, you keep putting yourself down, but you're, like, come on. And we're already like that in episode 2. Again, I don't think they're going to kiss by the end of this show, but I do think that the people that make the show would like me to think that they're going to kiss. I believe that this is what the kids call subtext, or perhaps we would call it queer baiting. So yeah, there's a nice back and forth between the two of them. Then they're doing another radio episode. They're providing the live event, which we found out at the end of the second episode. They've got that live event. And that live event, they're going to, and Otome, they're going to promote the anime, and they're going to perform the opening number, which is, that's probably some, going to be concerning for some of them who don't want to perform live. Chika's not happy about this. Lastbrook says, I wish Crunchyroll was better navigate. I want to watch this show, but didn't even know it was on their service. Yeah, Lastbrook, that's probably a larger conversation. I'll give the brief thing about it. Crunchyroll won when Sony bought Crunchyroll and merged it with Funimation. Funimation Crunchyroll won the streaming wars. They don't have a big competitor to compete with. Therefore, they get, some might say, too much anime. And they don't promote most of them. Like, thank you for the follow. Welcome. I don't know what's going on, but this is quite a few follows today. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to have you here. But yeah, there's something where like Crunchyroll doesn't even promote most of the shows they have. Like their YouTube probably doesn't even have the opening or closing theme to this anime. Like they just don't have it. I don't know why, but they don't promote all of the shows they have because they have too many shows. I guess that's why. Which is frustrating because this one's pretty fucking fun and different. It's certainly, Lashbrook, discoverability wasn't necessarily great before the merger, but it's definitely not good now, I will say. When they had less shows, they were a little bit better about promoting the shows they had. Because there's like shows they tell you about before the season starts, and then there are shows they don't tell you about ever. And they're doing a lot more of, they're just never going to talk about this show than they did previously. Which is, of course, frustrating. Let's see, can I get this out like this? No, I have to do pressure. Let's see. I have to separate this at some point. I'm going to do that later. Going to leave that up for later. Let's see. Yumiko remembers that Chika doesn't really want to do this. And they had a whole fight about it. And Chika and Yumiko have a fight, and they kind of come to some sort of understanding. Let's see. They practice. It's very obvious that Otome is really tired. She injures her leg. And they're like, you should probably cancel, but she doesn't want to let down the fans, which is that double-edged sword, whereas like you are doing this because the fans want to see you, and the reason why you're successful is because of the fans, but also the fans don't want you to be hurt, and so maybe you shouldn't push yourself like this, but whatever. Unfortunately, we're not going to, like, that's neither here nor there. But basically they compromise, and Yumiko and Chika do all the dancing and singing, and Otome just does talking parts. And Chika's just like, this is our chance to showcase ourselves. And Yumiko basically recognizes that the fans purely came for Otome and are disappointed in the performance. So they're kind of like honest about it, but they're like, you know what? Someday we're gonna be big shots, just like Otome. We're gonna, like, someday they're gonna be coming to the events like this for us, and not, and you know, we'll entertain them, but they won't leave disappointed. And they're like bonding. It's episode 2. And we don't know if it, again, is this friendship bonding? Is this relationship bonding? I can't tell you right now because I don't know. I could see this, again, being a wink and nod series, but I could also see them just being like, yeah. By the end of it, they fell in love. We're gonna commit to it. I don't necessarily think they're gonna commit to it, but they could. And that is the many sides of voice actor radio, which has been pretty fucking good. I am going to use this to push this part here. Right now, I cannot remove the parts here of the wheels, and I do need these to come apart. And I don't have a good way of doing this, so I was trying to see if I can push this white piece out. Yes, I can. Great, I did it. So I'm going to have to do that because that's the only way to separate these, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. Now it's part of the stream where I want to hear from you. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? Are you watching any TV shows? You watching any movies? You reading anything? Playing any video games? What do you got going? It's now your time to shine, and I want to hear from you. And I will tell you about what I have been playing. Oh, first I'll just say they announced there's going to be more Fallout TV series. That there's going to be more coming out. Season 2 is coming out. That's great because I liked Season 1. So I'm excited for more of that. You know the usual. I've been playing Hearthstone. I've been enjoying my time in Hearthstone. I'm still playing Hearthstone and having a good time with that, of course. I have not played Helldivers in a little while. The multiplayer crew have been playing when I'm not available. I'm probably going to be playing tonight after I'm done with this stream. I believe that there is some time for us to hang out. I believe that at least 2 people that I normally play with will be available. So we're probably going to play tonight, which is great because I've been missing the Helldivers. Some stuff's been going on without me, and I want to play that. The big game that I've been playing this week, hey, I've been playing a new video game, if you can fucking believe it. And that new video game is, of course, Life Eater. Made by Strange Scaffold, who the makers of prolific video game producers of a wide variety of styles of games. And holy shit, Life Eater rules. And also, I don't know if I could be like, yeah, this is like a great game that you should play. It's a lot. I described it as heavy. the darkness in this game is not edgelord material. It is not high school teenager, like vibes. It's not like dark and twisted. It is dark and it is twisted. There is a weight to the game. I am thoroughly impressed by it. It is a kidnapping murder scheduler to prevent the end of the world from an evil god. And then also, there was a witness along the way who you don't want to sacrifice to this god, so you kidnap this person, and it is a conversation between you and the person you have kidnapped, and that is heavy, and it is all very fucking heavy. It is a lot, and it is the puzzle aspect of picking the right person and satisfying the things you need to satisfy and doing a good job of being a kidnapper for sacrifice it's very good at making me feel very bad, and I keep taking breaks while playing it. A peek behind the curtain, I auditioned in a cold call audition to voice the main character. I did, obviously, you would know this, I did not get the job, but I did submit sides for it because they just did open casting. And now that I've played more of it, I know that if I had gotten this job, it would have fucked me up. And it does remind me of I tweeted this, so I can say it. It does remind me of something that because the creator, goes digitally as Rit Nelson. I'm going to look up. I've never said his name correctly. Halavir Nelson, the founder of Strange Scaffold, who worked on El Paso Elsewhere and a bunch of other stuff for that. Sunshine Shuffle, which we played on stream and is really fun. He is like, he's not hiding this. He's a Christian. He's a good Christian boy. He's not hiding his faith. And a friend of mine years ago said that the good Christian boys are actually the darkest people. And this makes me believe that. Like, yeah, there's a lot going on in this fucking game, and it's heavy. And it's definitely not for everyone. I would say it has nothing in common with Sunshine Shuffle. If that's your hallmark for Strange Scaffold, it maybe is it's probably actually closest to the Space Organ Trader. That game, it's probably closest to that. Because even El Paso Elsewhere is, it's a Max Payne meets the Apocalypse thing, but it's really just a Max Payne game. They just made a cool Max Payne because no one's making those kinds of Max Payne games. This is a whole other fucking thing. I'm using tweezers right now to pull these apart because I don't have any other idea of how to get this out other than tweezers. There, I got it. Part separator is not going to help me get those pieces out. But now hopefully I won't need tweezers for the rest of this as I disassemble. And I will, if we don't finish this, I'm not going to finish disassembling this here. I will do it on my own time so that we have everything together for when it's time to stream on Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, when I continue working on this. So right now we're just getting this done. And then once it's separated, like I said, I'll do the rest of it on my own and know all of it together and get it all organized and get it ready for the stream. You've been saying in chat while I was talking about Life Eater, which again is great, but also fucked. Lord Crescent got his analog pocket, and you've been enjoying trying out things on it. Started over with Pokemon Blue due to having all the Pokemon with custom names, which were mostly crude names, or cursed names, I should say, not crude, cursed names. Yeah, it makes sense. Mostly adding ass to the end of various words. Booted my Pokemon Ruby, which is a good 20 hours in, having 3 badges that I'm wandering around in. 20 hours and 3 badges? Yeah, all right. That ain't bad. And yeah, you're just kind of seeing what's going on. That's awesome. I love that, Lord Crescent. I love that you're using your analog pocket to look at old games you used to play. That's fun. That's fun and good. Aristophan. Hello, Aristophan. Picked up Rise of the Ronin. What if FromSoft made an Odyssey-style Assassin's Creed? It's in my wheelhouse, so I'm enjoying it so far. Nice! Rise of the Ronin. I'm glad you're having fun with it. That's awesome, Aristophan. Hell yeah. Is there anything else? Because, if people have been working on other things, been playing stuff, you're working on any model kits, you're watching anything, you're playing any video games, let me know in the chat. Love to hear from you on that stuff. Did you get the Cheech and Chong DLC for Call of Duty in honor of 420? And you've been shooting people as Tommy Chong? I bet you didn't. I have to imagine that unless you are currently Jeff Gersman, you have not done that. Unless Jeff is watching the stream, and Jeff does occasionally watch the stream. Hey, Jeff. But unless you're Jeff, you don't have the Cheech and Chong paid DLC for Call of Duty. Statistically, anyway. It's highly unlikely that you have that. Maybe you do, and I'm wrong. And I don't have a good... Maybe I don't have a good read on my viewers. It's possible. But I feel like I have a pretty good read on them. I feel like I know. I would know if you've been watching. Or if you've been doing that. I'm pretty sure I would know. Let's see. For me, I am excited because tomorrow, technically, this morning at 5 in the morning, tomorrow, will be Hype 2. Hyper Misao from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling will produce her second ever wrestling event. She is currently injured, which we hope for a speedy recovery for Misao. But she is still producing the show. It is a show. The first Hype was weird as fuck and kind of fucking incredible. And I have high hopes for the second one, which again comes out in 6 hours from now. I will not watch it live. I don't need to watch it live. But I am going to watch it tomorrow night. So I'm excited to watch that. Lashmer says, I feel like even I'm not old enough for that DLC. Look, I'm aware of Cheech and Chong because I'm just culturally aware of it. Early Comedy Central showed Up in Smoke a lot. So I am culturally aware of them. Of course, then Tommy Chong went on to just do stuff about weed for forever, including the marijuana logs, their version of the vagina monologues, but about weed. He toured that for many years with a bunch of guests and Arj Barker and Doug Benson and a bunch of other people worked on that. The funny thing is the marijuana logs ran longer than the vagina monologues. Okay, I have dropped a piece that I cannot readily find. So I see. Actually, I do see it. It is too far away for me to get it. I get ads about his THC gummies with bullshit AR on Twitter all the time. Yeah, it's tragic. Cheech Marin went on to be an actor. He was always an actor because those are characters. But he went on to do acting that did not involve weed, including working in TV and in movies. And now he works in weed again. And they're in a Call of Duty game, and that's weird. Lord Crashton says, I ordered a new controller for Retro Fighters that is a modern style N64 controller that works on PC and Switch, so I can finally play emulated N64 games on my PC and maybe Steam Deck properly. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it might be it might be annoying to get that working on Steam Deck, but it's certainly possible. So good luck to you on getting that working. I hope it works. All right, let's get this all straightened out here. We're just doing some disassembly at the end of the stream. We're making my life easier for when it's time to assemble. Because all this will be together and ready to go. Just separate those. And then put that there. And then I'm going to have to knoll and do all that work. We're just going to... I got some... So... he was in Ghostbusters, indeed. I got these 1x1s. These are 2 1x1s stacked together. I can theoretically separate them with the separator, like that, which works. Or I can put them on some parts like this here, and then with a lot of pressure, I can just remove one of them, and then I can remove the other. You just have to put like a different amount of pressure on these to separate, because like a little bit of pressure will just separate these two, no problem. But if you do finite pressure, you can just do one layer off of them. Like this, instead of taking 2 off. I just take 1 off. It's an art form. But yeah, I am going to play Hearthstone on stream next Tuesday. That'll be my next game. Oh, I should say, I didn't say this. Thanks for everybody that came by on Tuesday for Pat Baer's, raising some money for dental surgery stream, where we played WW2K24 CPU matches and had some new venues, had new #1 contenders, no new champions because both our main champions retained their belts. But it was fun and silly. We had a good crowd, and I appreciate everybody that came in, and of course the folks that donated, and folks that just hung out. It was very nice and very fun. And we are just about out of time. Now, I am going to finish knolling all of this off on my own. I'll take care of it on my own time. But right now, what's going to happen is we are going to go on what we call in the business a raid. We are going to go hang out with some other people, somebody else who's streaming, doing cool shit, and go spend a little time with them. Let's see who is streaming that we want to go hang out with. It's a Thursday. Who's doing stuff? They're probably ending soon, so I don't want to go there. Let's go hang out with my friend Frank of Becky and Frank fame. Frank is playing Fortnite soon. Oh, wait, no. All right, well, I don't know. Frank is starting in a couple minutes. So we're going to hang out a little bit before we raid because we are going to go in the beginning. We're going to be early adopters for Becky and Frank tonight as Frank plays Fortnite with some people. So we are going to do that, but he hasn't actually officially gone live yet. So we are going to raid him, but we're going to hang out and wait for it to start for like a minute. Before I click the go, because I do want him to actually get started before we jump in there, because I don't want to give you this like a loading screen. Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to continue working on this kit, or this Lego set. I have not decided if we are going to start with the skateboard or the boombox. I think we're probably going to start with the skateboard, because I think the skateboard will be fun to build. And then we'll preview, I'll do a long preview of AEW Dynasty, which is the pay-per-view on Sunday. And we'll talk about a bunch of other things as well. And I'll have some anime to talk about. I'll probably give a brief overview of what happened on Hype, because I'm going to watch that tomorrow night. I can't wait for that. That's going to be the good shit. I'm excited for that. And yeah, we'll just kind of like hang out and talk about a bunch of stuff on Saturday. And I think it'll be pretty neat. You might even say it's going to be good. All right. Frank is not started yet. I shouldn't have said we were going to raid him and then noticed they hadn't actually fully started yet. That's on me. Let's see. Other things I can tell you about before we go on this raid. I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else to say. Um, yeah. I'm going to mow the lawn tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to it. All right, we're going to go raid. Frank, feel free to come along in this raid. I would love it if you could. Frank is good people. He's going to be playing some Fortnite and having a good time with that. So I hope you'll come along on this raid. Thank you for everybody that chose to spend even a little bit of time with me tonight. Thank you for everybody that's choosing to come along on this raid. It was weird how many people hit the follow button tonight. That it was just atypical. And a lot of first-time chatters, which is always nice. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you come along on this raid. I hope to see you on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one, and I will see you soon. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.